So how do you increase the floor price of your NFT collection with $0 in marketing budget? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And by the end of this video, I'm going to be giving you a pro tip, a pro hack that I've seen someone do in the market that was pretty smart. Now, if this is the first time we meet, my name is Leon Aboud and I help builders build in Web3 through my growth, consulting and marketing agency, Unfungible.xyz. Over the last year, we've worked with over 75 of the top Web3 brands, generate over $40 million in NFT mints and token launches. And I make these videos for free to help democratize access to marketing information. No longer do I want the secrets of the industry to be held in the hands of the few. And instead, I want you, the builders that are trying to build the future of this industry through your products, through your services, or through your collection, to have access to this information, apply it, and help shape the future of this industry with all of us. And the way I want us to start thinking about floor price is the following. Imagine if this line right here was your floor. What we have at the bottom is the buy pressure into your collection. What we have at the top, the sell pressure. This is the selling pressure of people selling, the sell pressure, people selling your collection. And this line right here moves in correlation with the buy pressure and the sell pressure. We can understand that very simply through that lens, that if we have more buy pressure than sell pressure, all of a sudden our floor right here is going to go up. However, if we have more sell pressure than we have buy pressure, all of a sudden this is going to create downward pressure on our floor, which is going to have to go down in the process until the buy pressure can recoup and make up for the sell pressure. And all of a sudden, through this lens, we can start understanding how the sell pressure is a function of the buy pressure. Because how can you sell an NFT if you've never bought? Where most founders fail is they've oftentimes focused too much on the bottom. They try to attract new people, always have to market to new people, onboard new people into the ecosystem to be the exit liquidity of the sell pressure. But where most founders don't pay attention to, and this is the low-hanging fruits, are at the top. How do we reduce the sell pressure to the point where it is almost, which is going to be impossible, but where it is almost non-existent? Because guess what happens if you have an NFT collection where no one lists? All of a sudden, this is a very valuable collection because all of a sudden, no one is selling, no one wants to leave the ecosystem. Obviously, you need volume in your collection. But the less people are selling, the higher probability of your floor to be higher. And what I'm about to share with you right now, how to reduce the sell pressure, is based on a conversation that I've had with a recent team that we worked on. They did an incredible job, raised a couple $1 million on their mint. And I myself had a conversation with them post-mint covering this specific topic. And that's what I'm going to be showing you today for free, so you can also be equipped with the same knowledge. Now, to illustrate this point, here's what we're going to do. Imagine if you had a collection of 10,000 NFTs circulating on the market. Could be less, could be more. I like 10,000 because it's a round number. Let's say every single month during a specific monthly period, let's say your churn rate is at 5%. What does churn mean? Churn is the number of people within your ecosystem that are leaving the ecosystem. They're selling. They want to exit the ecosystem. This is what in the business world and the agency world that I'm in, it's called the churn rate. People who just cancel their subscription or no longer need your service, so they stop what they are doing with you. Let's assume with a collection of 10,000, you have a churn rate of 5%. That means that at any given month, you're going to have 500 NFTs on secondary marketplace that are sellable. This right here is going to be the sell pressure. Now let's imagine that the churn rate, aka the sell pressure, is higher. Let's double that to 10%. That means all of a sudden we have 1,000 NFTs every single month that are going to rotate within the community, that are going to rotate on secondary market. And then you're going to need to have, theoretically, again, there are some people list a lot above floor price, but let's assume the majority of NFTs are listed close to floor price. That means that you're going to need 1,000 new people to enter your ecosystem. So all of a sudden you can see how having a lower churn within your community is going to make it easier for the existing buy pressure to increase the floor versus with that same buy pressure with a 5% churn could maintain the floor, but a 10% churn, all of a sudden it's crashing your floor price. So same buy pressure, different churn, all of a sudden you can see how we can move that. And this is where I want us to understand. I'm gonna be sharing with you 3 things that we can do to decrease churn. But before we do that, what makes up churn? So churn is a function of churn rate and churn speed. So churn rate and churn speed. These are the 2 variables that we're going to want to control as we are orchestrating the launch of our project or post-launch, as we're trying to improve the health of our floor price. Churn rate is pretty much the rate of people who are going to churn from your ecosystem. I've seen a stat somewhere this week on X that about 9% of all Bored Ape holders, it's been over 2.5 years now, have never sold their collection. So for Bored Ape, the LTV churn so far is 91%. 91% of people have flipped their Bored Ape. 9% have never. And naturally with Bored Ape, it's been 2.5 years. But for you, if you are a new NFT project, if you've been in the market for a month, 6 months, a year, the churn should be, your aim should be to have as low of a churn as possible. Churn speed is the speed at which people are gonna exit. We've all seen this. We call them paper hands. It's people who buy and then 1 hour later they wanna sell. These are paper hands. They have absolutely no conviction to the community. They were just in it to potentially make a profit. The floor pumps 10%, they sell. The floor dumps 10%, they sell. These people have a churn speed that is incredibly high. And these are not good people for the floor price of the community, because all of a sudden, people are creating a lot of sell pressure. Let's say this right here was the duration of time since the launch of your project all the way to today. Let's say 1,000 people were going to sell. Would you rather have 1,000 people selling right here? Or would you rather have 1,000 people selling over the duration, over a longer duration of your project? This is churn speed. And the more we're gonna have let's assume the buy pressure of X that assumed is constant along the time, we're gonna be able to let the buy pressure make up for the sell pressure. And naturally you understand how the longer the churn speed, the more chances we give the buy pressure time to make up for that sell pressure or even overcome it and increase the floor. And right now I'm going to be showing you 3 things that we can do as a project team, as a founding team, to reduce our churn. And by nature, which means reducing the churn rate, how many people are gonna churn, and elongating the speed of churn so that people don't churn directly. The first one of these is having an onboarding journey. And in parentheses right here, I'm gonna write Law 40. Law 43 from one of my favorite books, 48 Laws of Power, which says, work on the hearts and minds of people. When you're able to work on the hearts and minds of people and are able to give them what is it that they seek and what is it that they're looking for, they are going to reward you with loyalty. And we can understand now, when we are able to foster this sense of belonging and this sense of community to the new people entering our community, all of a sudden, we are going to be rewarded by a higher percentage by these people with loyalty and with a sense of belonging, which is ultimately going to reduce the churn rate. Now here's this example that is absolutely insane, but you're gonna understand my point. Imagine if every time someone bought your NFT, you took them out to dinner, you sat down with them, you got to hear them, you got to understand their needs, you got to understand who they are as a person, you got to pay the bill, and you got to send them back home. And you bet this person, after that experience, are going to reward you with loyalty and belonging and be part of your community and are a lot less likely to sell your collection. Now, although I know that the idea of taking someone out and the dinners and all that, this is not scalable, what it does illustrate is when you make people feel part of something, they all of a sudden want to be part of that something because they feel special. Imagine if every time someone entered your ecosystem, you sent them a personalized message, a personalized voice note, a personalized text, a video, welcoming them into the community. Hey Chris, I just saw that you just bought your new NFT. I just wanted to first of all welcome you into the community. It is incredible to have builders like you, someone who is trying to build the future of Web3, to be part of our community. Here's what I would invite you to do. Click on this link to join our Discord server. Once you're in, please make sure to say hello. And our community manager, Sophia, is going to be welcoming you with all the resources that you need. Let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. Imagine if you were able to do this with every single one of your holders. Imagine the sense of loyalty. Imagine the gratitude. People would literally, I can guarantee you this, would take screenshots of that message and would post it on X. Guys, I've never seen this. This is incredible. I feel special. This community is making me feel welcome. With simply having an onboarding journey, you all of a sudden have the ability to capture more people, make them travel through the loyalty building phase window a lot faster, and you have the ability to reduce the speed at which people churn. So people don't churn directly. They give you the benefit of the doubt because they know that you're accessible. They know that you're here. Now the question might be, how do I know who is buying into my ecosystem? I mean, there's a couple ways to do this. Number one, oftentimes, if you have a good project, people are going to post about you. Screenshot, just minted XYZ. So this is number one, how you can capture someone. Number two, you can easily see on the transactions, especially on OpenSea, people oftentimes have their Twitter account linked to their OpenSea username. So you can see, okay, wallet one bought my collection. Let me click on wallet one. Ooh, there's a Twitter account associated with this. So I know this person is now a holder. Let me go message them. This is way number two. It is a little bit scrappy. You won't be able to capture everyone. Now here's way number three. And this is how you can engineer this within your project before you even launch. So the minters, before they mint, they have to connect their X account or just have to input what is your X username? So we can send you a welcome gift. All of a sudden, you're able to capture the usernames of all the people. You're able to see exactly, okay, who minted and who do I have their X, and immediately sending them a message as soon as they're live, making a post-mint team ready on standby. As soon as people mint, boom, they get approached, they get onboarded, they receive an onboarding message by the team, by the community, by the founder, to welcome them into their ecosystem and to give them a call to action on what to do next. Which is what takes us to our second point. Right here, I need to change my pen. The second point is the community conviction curve. So if you haven't heard of the community conviction curve, this is something that I have spoken about before on this channel. And what it says that if you are to draw the community onboarding journey, it doesn't usually look like a straight line. What it more looks like is an exponential line. And every step of the way of the onboarding journey, people are going to need different touch base points. So you need a touch base point from having someone from a stranger to an onlooker, from having an onlooker turn into a community member, from having a community member turn into a fan, and then from having a fan turn into a brand advocate, or as it's called in the community conviction curve, a leader. I'll give you an example. Airbnb is one of these brands that have really studied and mastered the community conviction curve. The goal for Airbnb was, how do we turn a stranger into someone that is hosting at Airbnb? Someone that is opening up their home, their place for strangers to come in. And what they realized is by taking a stranger and directly inviting them to create a host account was too big of a canyon. And they realized that the best onboarding journey for people was, at first, for them to read a blog article about hosting on Airbnb. The second was to create an account on the platform as a guest and perhaps booking their first stay at Airbnb. The third one was for them to attend a local meetup. Back in the days when Airbnb was still new, they used to do a lot of local meetups in the biggest markets. And they would have like just a local meetups of hosts, and they would have training sessions, all these things to help hosts be better equipped with resources to succeed at what is it that we're doing. And finally, the final step, it was actually creating a host account and putting up your very first listing on Airbnb. And this is how Airbnb was able to use the community conviction curve to turn a stranger into someone that is at the greatest level, someone opening up their house to strangers. So for you, the first thing I would do after I have my onboarding journey, how do I craft a community conviction experience that allows them to not only experience the community, but also experience the team and experience the project? What if step one was the simplest ask, which is just verify on Discord and say hello on the general chat? The moment they take their first action is when they're going to be most likely to also take their second action within the ecosystem, which is perhaps check out the website and register for our weekly holders newsletter. The next step after this would be to perhaps join an AMA with the community, Every single founder should try to maximize the time that they have one-on-one with teams. And in a world of the internet, you have the ability to scale that one-on-one time through content, through live streams, through all the mediums that allow us to scale these communication channels. So how I would optimize to have them attend perhaps an onboarding call. Imagine you had 10 new people joining your Discord every single day. What if you were to create an orientation week for all new holders where every single day they have a new orientation call with a specific advisor or a specific community member or a specific community manager, and it was a full onboarding journey, just like university, freshman week. All these are things that you can do to expose your customer, to expose your holder to your ecosystem and increase their conviction and their sense of belonging that they have within the brand. I have a story for you to illustrate the point that I have right here. I was a couple weeks ago having a call with a founder, and he had an existing NFT collection out on the market, but it was a small collection, a couple hundred pieces. And what he was working towards is a bigger NFT drop of a couple thousand NFTs. And what his bottleneck is his floor price was a bit low for him to be able to launch a second collection. Typically, the fine line is you want between a 10x between your floor price and the mint price of your second collection. That's what we've seen a lot of the higher quality projects do. So for him, it meant that he needed a floor price to be at 1 Ethereum. I told him, dude, if there's one thing you want to do right now that is going to create the highest leverage out of all the different marketing strategies that you can roll out, one strategy that is going to have the highest leverage on everything you're going to do for free is going to be reach out to all your existing holders, all your existing supporters. These are people that are already exposed to you. They know who you are. Reach out to them and book a call with them, speak with them. And that he did. Guess what happened? After the call, his floor price 3x. Because what happened after he was doing a series of calls, I think he spoke with about 25 to 30 people. So not a lot of people. But what this did is it improved the sentiment within the community. And it caused the existing holders to buy more NFTs, creating buy pressure from zero. So it was the existing holders that ended up gaining conviction again, so refueled conviction into your ecosystem to buy new pieces. So all that to say, sometimes your existing community could be the ones to even create more buy pressure because their conviction is already so strong within your ecosystem. And the third and final thing that we can do to increase our floor price is to work on aesthetics. So work on aesthetics. And I have the perfect story for you. Persona. I keep bringing this project up, but it's just like, I want to give you examples that are pertinent to you and the ones that I've seen and I've experienced hands-on as a client of mine. What's beautiful about Persona, what they did incredibly well, is that they had art that was so aesthetic. Beautiful art where people all of a sudden, there was this whole, it was trending for a couple days on Twitter. It was like my forever persona. My forever profile picture. I'm on my way to find my forever persona. Can you guys help me find my forever persona? People were looking for their forever profile picture because the PFP of persona was so beautiful thanks to aesthetics. And what this did, if you are to look at the floor price of persona, let's assume this is the floor price. It moves right here. Typically, with most NFT collection, the majority of all sales happen around floor price. So it happens all the way right here. In the case of persona, what was very interesting is, let's say the floor price was hovering over here. You did have sales right here on the floor, but you also had a lot of sales right here. So you had a lot of sales, and literally go on Blur, you could see this exact chart. It's insane to see compared to other collections. You're gonna see this exactly. And the reason this phenomenon was happening to persona is because people valued their piece of art, and they deemed oftentimes that their piece of art looks better than just a floor piece. And what it caused them to do is to list the NFT above floor, maybe oftentimes 50 bucks, 100 bucks, 150 bucks, $1,000 above the floor price. And what this did is it created less sell pressure on the floor, and it gave a little bit of breathing room to the floor to prevent it from crashing. Because if everyone wants to sell on the floor, all of a sudden it means people want to exit your ecosystem, and oftentimes they'll list below floor. They'll list 10 bucks below floor, and then 10 bucks below floor. And when you have everyone trying to list at floor, all of a sudden it creates a race to the bottom because people just want to sell their ecosystem. And if you don't have an aesthetic profile picture, if you don't have an aesthetic piece of art, the people who are buying also are just going to buy the cheapest piece. So all of a sudden, by having aesthetics into your ecosystem, by adding a layer of aesthetics, you have the ability to give your floor a little bit of breathing room. One project that we've seen do this very well is DGods. DGOD started off with DGOD Season 1. It was okay art. And then they came out with DGOD Season 2. So they did an art upgrade, which all of a sudden looked a lot more aesthetic. And then DGOD Season 3, which in my opinion, looked a lot even a lot more aesthetic than Season 2. So all that to say, ladies and gentlemen, the 3 things that you can do. Now, all that to say, obviously, working on aesthetics could be costly, it could be expensive, but this could be one thing that you could work towards to eventually, if you are to build long-term, which I know a lot of you watching this channel are, your goal is how do I build a long-term community? So perhaps working on the aesthetics of your brand could be a good long-term vision, a good long-term goal for what is it that you're building. Now, as promised, a little hack that I have for you. I was just this week speaking with a founder and he told me about something that he did within his community. And I was like, bro, that was really smart, man. How did you come up with this? And what he did is he had a list of VIPs on his website. These are one-on-one connections that he had. The friends, the connections, the investors, 50 people on his website. And these were the first people that were whitelisted in the project. As an outsider, the only way for you to get whitelisted is to see these 50 people and you had to know one of them and DM them to get your whitelist spot. And each of these people on the website, the 50 people, they only had 3 whitelists that they could give away for friends. So what this created through this gamification element is it created social pressure. You were all of a sudden in a community of friends. So all of a sudden you already warmed up to the community. And number 2, it created social pressure. Because if you were to sell your NFT, it meant you were selling on your friends. It meant that you were dumping the floor on the head of your friends. So it created that social pressure and that very transparent model because all of a sudden everyone knows everyone knows who's holding what. And the moment someone exited the ecosystem, it's like, oh, we see you. So that is one of the things that they were able to do, create social pressure within their community to pretty much launch their NFT, and I believe so far raising $250,000. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen, how to increase your floor price without any marketing budget. It's all about working on reducing the sell pressure so you have the ability to increase the floor price. My name is Leon Aboud, and it was a great pleasure sharing this time together. I will see you very soon. Cheers.